So let's talk about one of the biggest challenges businesses face today. How do you take these just seas of raw data and turn them into something you can actually use? We're going to unpack the incredible systems that make that kind of discovery possible.
I want to start with a number, a really, really big number. 175 zettabytes. That's a 175 with 21 zeros after it. I mean, what does that even mean?
Well, a single zettabyte is a trillion gigabytes. And according to research, 175 zettabytes is how much data we're expected to be creating every single year by 2025. We are generating information at a speed that is just astronomical. And honestly, this is both a huge challenge and an absolutely incredible opportunity.
Yeah, it can really feel like we're just drowning, right? All this information is pouring in from everywhere. Sales, social media, you name it. But hidden inside that flood is the knowledge that can completely change a business.
Think about it. Businesses have these burning questions. Who are our best customers really? What products do people tend to buy together? And maybe the most important one, who's about to leave us for a competitor? The answers to all of that, they're buried in the data.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you possibly sift through all that raw information to find a clear answer? How do you turn all of that noise into a clear signal?
Well, the answer is you have to build something. You have to build a kind of central library for all your data, a system designed from the ground up to bring order to that chaos.
And that system is called a data warehouse. The best way to think about it is like a massive, super organized library that holds all of a company's historical information. It doesn't just store the data. That's the key. It structures it in a way that lets you ask really complex questions and actually get answers.
Now, if the data warehouse is the whole library, then a data mart is like one specialized section of it. Maybe it's just for the marketing team or just for the sales department. It's a smaller, focused piece of the pie, which makes it way faster and easier for a specific team to find exactly what they're looking for.
Okay, so you've decided to build this data library, but how do you actually do it? Well, it turns out there isn't just one way. There are two major philosophies for how to approach this.
Right. You've got the top-down approach, which is very strategic. You plan out the whole thing for the entire company right from the start. Then you have the bottom-up approach, which is more agile. You start by building those smaller individual data marts. It's a classic trade-off, really. Top-down is great for long-term consistency, but it can be slow. Bottom-up gets results for specific teams really fast, but you risk creating these separate data silos that are a headache to connect later on.
And this visual just lays it out perfectly. Look at the left, the top-down model. You see all the data flows into that one big central data warehouse first, and then it's used to create the smaller data marts. Now look at the right, the bottom-up model. The data flows into those individual data marts first, and then those are all pulled together to create the warehouse. It's the same goal, just a totally different path to get there.
So no matter which design philosophy you choose, when you pop the hood, the engine inside these systems is usually organized into three distinct layers. People call them tiers.
Okay, here's a look at the whole shebang, the three-tier architecture. It looks a little complex, but it's actually pretty logical. Down at the bottom, you've got all your messy raw data. In the middle, that's the data warehouse itself doing all the work. And up at the top, that's where people like you and me can actually use it. So let's break that down.
First up, the bottom tier. This is where all the dirty work happens. Data gets pulled in from all over the place. It gets cleaned up to fix errors and inconsistencies. It's transformed into one standard format, and then it's loaded into the warehouse. This whole process is called ETL, extract, transform, load. And it is absolutely critical. If you get this part wrong, you get what they call garbage in, garbage out, and then all of your analysis is basically worthless.
Next, we move up to the middle tier. This is where you find the OLAP server, and you can really think of this as the brains of the entire operation. It takes all that clean data and organizes it into this amazing multi-dimensional structure, kind of like a Rubik's Cube of information. This is what lets you slice it, dice it, and look at it from any angle you can imagine.
And finally, we get to the top tier. This is the part that you would actually see and interact with. It's all the reporting tools, the dashboards, the analytics apps that let a normal business user ask questions, make charts, and, finally find those hidden insights we've been talking about.
So we've just walked through this incredibly sophisticated, multi-layered system, but you have to ask yourself, why? Why go through all this trouble? Well, the goal The entire point of this is to start mining that data for hidden gold.
And that brings us to the payoff: data mining. It's simply the process of sifting through all of that beautifully organized data to discover patterns, trends, and connections that you would never have been able to spot otherwise.
Honestly, this analogy is perfect. Before you had the data warehouse, all you had was this messy mountain of raw data. The warehouse is what organizes it all into neat piles, and data mining? Well, that's the pickaxe and shovel you use to dig through it all and pull out those little nuggets of pure gold, of pure knowledge.
And why do we care so much about those nuggets? Because that is what allows a business to truly understand itself and its customers. It's how you stop just collecting data and start making smarter, more accurate predictions and strategic decisions. It's what gives you a real, actual competitive edge.
So, at the end of the day, when you think about all this complexity, the tiers, the models, the ETL process, just remember that it all exists to answer one simple but incredibly powerful question. What stories is your data trying to tell you?